Hello everybody, welcome to On the Road in Recovery with myself, Adrian Cox. I hope you're all well. This is going to be a fairly quick one because I'm going to have a little bit of a sleep in a minute. I always seem to be going to sleep, I'm always busy, aren't I? Not as of Monday's a travel day, then I've got Tuesday off, Wednesday off, then Thursday I'm going off to Denmark. And I'm in Denmark Thursday, Friday I'm in Sweden on the Saturday. Then I'm back to the UK on a Sunday. Then I'm off for 3 weeks. So it's all good. Thank you very much for all your messages as always and all your comments. There's loads of people following this account now, more than I ever could have imagined. So thanks for all sharing it and sharing it to your stories and things like that. I posted a picture of myself a few days ago, which got a lot of messages and things like that. Yeah, I think I shocked myself there seeing that. I was like, wow, okay, there's quite a few photos like that kicking around, so I might do another one soon. But I got a message, someone was saying I work in two very different worlds of the music industry, and I know I've touched on this slightly before, but working in the ska punk scene and working in the jazz scene. So yeah, very two different worlds, but if you think about it, jazz, you always think, in the old days of jazz, it's definitely not like it now, but the old days of jazz was late night drinking, everyone smoking, the early days, heroin addicts, everything like that. People, smoking dope, playing jazz, so you've got that side of the jazz scene. Then you've got the kind of punk and the ska scene, smoking dope, taking coke, bit more rock and roll on tour, yeah, coke, getting pissed. It's actually all under, it all comes under the same. But how do I deal with being in each situation, and do I find one harder than the other, is what my question was. Now, in the jazz scene, I think that you actually get an opportunity on a sort of gigging day-to-day basis, on a thing of, I think there's people who come and watch your music who go, or especially over my career, of what I've noticed is that there's people who will come to gigs and they will come to your gigs maybe from a kind of life where they might not have ever been to a punk and ska gig, or they've never been to another gig, but jazz is quite a safe thing for them to go and watch. They might go and, I'm not pigeonholing people here. I'm just saying that, from what I've, a bit more of an older crowd, a lot of the time, especially on the traditional jazz scene, which I grew up doing. So people probably wouldn't have expected me to be doing as much as what I was, or certainly some of the things that I have done and things like that. And it's stuff that you wouldn't really talk to people like that about and go, oh yeah, I'm just having a line of coke. Right now I'm coming back to play at Botany Bay traditional jazz clubs. You know what I mean? It's not that kind of thing that you would, it's not the kind of thing that you would tell everybody. So therefore, because you're not telling people that, it wouldn't be assumed. Whereas actually, on a more sort of punk and ska scene, people probably assume that you're doing all of that. And so therefore, yeah, if that makes sense. So what I found is that my my colleagues and friends on this scene of punk and ska and all that, they all knew how much I was taking of stuff. They all know how much I was drinking. They all know that I was smoking. When I say I smoked 40, 50 fags a day, yes, I did. So they all know what I was doing. So therefore, when you get a message or you get told by the doctors, or, I've had a hip replacement or whatever, they see that, they've seen the states I've been in. They've seen the thing. And also been around it a long time, that they know that when people get these problems, they have to stop. And if you don't support that, you're probably going to fucking die, and you're going to drink yourself to death, and nobody wants that to happen because you're all mates, you all work together, So in that scene, everyone's behind me in that scene of like, right, he doesn't fucking drink, he doesn't do this. And then there's a massive respect that I'm around it all, but I don't actually fucking do it. And so whereas the jazz scene is, people never really would have believed that I was drinking. Well, if they go, oh yeah, I was drinking a bit too much, someone might say to me, oh yeah, well, you know, I'm a bit like you. I seem to have, you know, every night I have a bottle of wine. It's like, a bottle of wine? I'd have a bottle of wine in 20 minutes. What are you talking about? You know, not that it's a competition, but, you know, so therefore they would probably think, oh, he's probably having 5 or 6 pints and it's a bit this. But actually, no, they don't. So they don't really understand the nature of how much I was drinking. So then it comes down to, well, surely you could just have one, because they're comparing them to themselves, not from what they've seen of me. You know, because a lot of these jazz festivals and things, we'd do the festival and I'd get pissed, but then I'd go out afterwards. You know, you'd finish the festival, you know, we'd be on a tour in Denmark. I remember doing a gig, finished the gig at 10 o'clock at night in Copenhagen, and then I went out on the piss until the next day at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you know, and then trying to find where the next gig is because I couldn't find a hotel and all that. You know, and then you turn up at the next gig and then you play and you're wondering how you're alive, yet the people at the club said it was the best gig they've ever had, best music they've ever had at the club, and you're going, well, hang on a minute. So it's weird, but with that, so to answer the question, when I'm around on the scene of the ska and the punk scene, the more rock and roll kind of touring, heavy kind of, you know, bigger venues, bigger festivals, I find it actually a bit easier to be sober, because I've got a hell of a lot of responsibility because I'm tour managing the band. When we arrive, I have to sort everyone's hotels out, I have to sort everything, make sure everyone's up, make sure everyone gets in the van, make sure everyone's getting paid, you know. So, you know, I immediately find the benefits are a lot easier. But then when I'm playing jazz, I'm getting more and more into my music, not into it in that way, you know, like, oh, I'm into myself, no, but more into the music of like, yeah, right, I'm just going to make this better, I can write more music, do this. So both of them, I would say, they're on an equal kind of par. I would say sometimes it's harder in this scene when I'm in control of people who are pissed out of their heads or whatever, trying to navigate people to where they need to be. That can be very difficult and very frustrating sometimes. But I get it, because, you know, why wouldn't you do that? If you're someone who can still have a drink and do that, yeah, go away, get pissed, have a great weekend. But it's not what I want to do, and I find it much better. So, but in the jazz world, it's quite hard sometimes when I see the younger people. It's weird. I have this weird thing that when people tell me how much they've drunk and they go, oh yeah, God, we got really pissed last night. Yeah, we went out, we had 4 pints before the gig. My brain immediately goes, do it properly, you know, but it's not about that. I'm actually pleased, deep down, I'm pleased that they're not fucking wrecking their bodies and stuff like that. And hopefully people will live a bit longer, you know, musicians. But anyway, so I don't know if I've even answered the question, but that's my thoughts. I think the answer is, in the scene which you think it would be harder, actually the naivety of the scene that you would think it would be easier can be a bit harder, because people go, oh, well, surely you can just have a drink. Or they go, oh, why are you not drinking? You know, if you're on this scene and you're not drinking, there's a reason you're not drinking. And it's, you know, especially if people remember you from the old days and stuff. So anyway, right, folks, Newcastle tomorrow. But I'm in Redcar, the delights of Redcar this evening. So, and I'm going to meet up with a good friend of mine as well. Well, it's not just him, it's a friend and his whole family, who I love dearly. So, these are the nice things about being completely sober, and you get to do that. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm going to stay with them. So I'm going to come off the tour for a night, have a little treat at their house. So I hope you're enjoying this. I'm going to have a little sleep now because I'm a little bit tired. But yeah, thanks again for all the support and all the sharing to your stories, and that is amazing. And don't forget, there's the YouTube channel. It's all the same videos at the moment, but there's a link in my bio. If you click on that, yeah, and the subscribers are going up, so that's great. All right, folks, take care. Bye-bye.